Hi everyone and welcome to Creation Depot. My name is Wendy Literal. I am a web designer and I wanted to take you through how to find out who your domain provider is and who your hosting provider is. And those are not necessarily the same people. So there are all kinds of registrars. There's GoDaddy, there's One-in-One, there's who else? Yahoo Domains and Network Solutions, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different kinds. And those are called domain registrars and they all have to funnel through ICANN, ICANN. And I forget what abbreviation it is for, but it's basically like the universal, everybody has to go through this one bottleneck point so that nobody gets a duplicate domain name, right? And it works pretty well. So you can have your domain registered at one company and still have your site hosted somewhere else. And the difference is that the hosting is where all your web files are, right? Like Word documents on your computer, but website files, PHP files, HTML5 files, all those kind of files on a hosting server somewhere else. Now, what happens is that the domain points to your hosting. So that's kind of the setup, right? Like you register your domain and then you can point to wherever your files are stored, right? So I wanted to show you if you just had like a web designer do this for you and you have no clue where they set up your website at, I'm going to show you how to find out where, okay? And I'll show you some of the limitations too. So we're going to start and we're going to type in creationdepot.com, which is my website. And I want to show you what it looks like. So this is just whois.sc and it forwards you to whois.domaintools.com. But what I wanted to point out is that there are many of these. You don't have to use this one, and most of them are free. So, and it tells you enough information that you really don't need to pay for anything. But for this, I wanted to show you that many websites are now, says redacted for privacy. You can actually pay a couple more dollars when you register your domain name to have it be private. And the reason that you do this is ICANN is public. So it has all of your information. So not only your address, but also your email address and your phone number. And those are opened up for spammers. So a lot of it is spam robots that kind of go through, but it's still, even if people go through and visually see it, they can still add you to the spam bots. So basically whatever email you put in here is going to get spammed to death. So that's why you pay a couple extra bucks. It's usually like $1 or $2 for privacy rights. Now I have that enabled on mine. I'll go ahead and tell you that mine is registered through One-in-One, and you can see that because it says right there, registrant organization, One-in-One Internet. I have most of my domains registered through them. They're a fairly good price. I do recommend you shop around there. There are many out there, and they all provide the same service. So, and if you scroll down here a little bit, you'll see the registrar, and it's going to list them. This is only listing them because that is the privacy for this site, right? It's not going to list my name because I have the privacy enabled. If I did not have the privacy enabled, my information would be here. My name, my address, my phone number, and my email address. So, scrolling down, what else can you learn from here? You can also learn your name servers. Now, what is this and why is it important? It is your hosting, right? So your domain name, I said before, will point to your hosting. Well, your hosting will have name servers on it, and basically what it is, it's the name of the server that has your files, and then it's the name of the backup server that will have a mirror of your files. So if server 1 goes down, server 2 will go. So if someone types in your web address and they can't get to server 1, they're going to try server 2, and that's how that works. Now, as you'll notice, this just says websitehostserver.net, which is of no use to anyone who might try to figure this out. So you don't know who it's hosted from, because if you were to type in websitehostserver.net, I don't think you would get anything. But more importantly, it doesn't tell you the true name of the host. So what I'm going to show you to do is you copy this and you go up to here. Actually, I think this is off screen, but basically you go to Google and you type it in who has, and then the name of the website, right? The website host server. Let me see if I can pull this down to this thing. There you go. Who has, and then paste the name of the name server. So then the first thing you do is you click on this, and while this doesn't say explicitly, hey, this is us, you can pretty much guess that Green Geeks is going to be my hosting company, right? And they're great. They're great. Affiliate link in the YouTube comments are right below. But what you could do from a little bit of digging is scroll down here and see where it says primary name server, and then it's listed here, right? So that is their primary name server. So you can say, oh, they are hosted through Green Geeks, or I'm hosted through Green Geeks. Now let me contact them and see about getting my account, right? Now, a couple of things I wanted to point out. Let me go back to the other screen here. A lot of people will get to this and they might see, okay, if let's just say there's no privacy enabled. If there's privacy enabled, you got to jump through a few more detective steps. But let's just say it is not enabled and you can see who it's registered to. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and they've hired a web designer somewhere, and that designer or developer put that information, or even that company register their domain name to themselves. Now, I want to point out that there are technical contacts, there's a registrar contact, and I think there's also an administrative contact. And there's like 3 different things where your name could show up, right? So just because you see them on the technical contact doesn't mean that your name isn't on the registration or on an administrative contact or anything like that. But if you don't see it here, that's not good. Basically what happens is that they have taken your domain name and registered it to themselves. And it doesn't matter how many times you call them, call the registration company, it doesn't matter anything like that. They're not going to help you. If your information isn't somewhere, they can't release the domain name to you. So what you'll have to do is go to wherever you're going to register, whatever domain name registrar you choose, GoDaddy, 101, whoever. You go to them and you say, I want to transfer this domain name from this person to me, right? And then what you have to do is get in touch with that person and then ask them for a transfer code. Once they take the transfer code, they will unlock the domain name on their end, and then you give it to the new guys and they will collect the domain name for you. It takes days, okay? It's not an instant thing. Sometimes it's super quick and sometimes it just takes forever. It's completely dependent on how much information is in the queue for ICANN, okay? So it's just know that it's going to mess with your emails, it's going to mess with your website. It's not a fun thing, but it's kind of one of those you got to just do it, right? You just got to take care of it. What you can, there are steps you can take to kind of mitigate the damage on that, but that's a whole thing I can't get into on this video. But I do want to point out that if you, and we've run into this before, where if you are dealing with a website designer who feels like they've been dissed, they're not going to help you, they're mad at you, whatever, just be aware that sometimes it does go to the point of going to a lawyer and having them draw it up, and that is only going to work for you if you have something in writing that says that, you know, you asked them to register this for you and you're not on here, you know, and you demand that they release this transcript, or not transcript, this domain to you through a transfer. And that does usually work, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is from a lawyer, you know, consequences are impending. But just be aware that it can go that far if you just get somebody that is just not willing to help you, okay? And at that point, you can pretty much kiss your website files goodbye too, because I've seen some pretty terrible stuff because people claim ownership of the artwork that they have made, the artwork being the website, right? So just be aware that it can go that route. Not usually. Usually everybody's pretty helpful, but in some bad situations, yeah, that happens. So that's it. It does not, one more thing, it does not necessarily mean if your website is hosted here that your email is hosted here. It can be hosted on a Microsoft Exchange server somewhere else, a third place, but those are the first 2 things to look for: your domain and your hosting. And then once you get that taken care of, and just call those companies and try to get the account information, they'll tell you how to get the information. Even though they can't release it to you, they'll be helpful with trying to retrieve it, and they'll give you the steps. And then you just gotta follow the steps, and hopefully it works out for you. If you get it and you find your email isn't there, or they're not willing to transfer stuff, that's again another question. But you can ask them for specific steps, and they can provide them to you. And if they're too technical for you, that's when you got to reach out for tech help, right? Me. Also, I wanted to go ahead and offer discovery calls. This is my sales pitch, but basically, just so you know, I do offer discovery calls. So if you run into this, or if you run into, I'm trying to set up a new website, or I'm trying to set up a website, or redo my current website, which is probably where you're at right now if you're looking for this information, I want you to go to creationdepot.com/discovery-calls. And what that is it is a service I offer that you can do 30 minutes or you can do an hour, and it will just go through and look at your site and figure out where the problem areas are. And what I do with a 60-minute call is I also provide you an action plan sheet. And on that action plan sheet, I outline every single thing you should do to make your website up to date, things of suggestions that need to be made. But what it really does is it gives you a common ground. So when you go out and you get these website quotes, you have a way to rein everybody in and be able to compare the quotes, because it's like shopping for a mattress. Everybody's got a different idea of what should be done. And if you have something concrete and you say, I need a quote on this piece of paper, then you're able to cross compare everybody. So that's it. I hope that's helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, please leave comments below. I'm very good about responding, and I wish you luck. All right, take care.